listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome. Love, light, health, healing, energy. Welcome, family. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, and original people reciprocity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive self-images about original people and original people culture. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast, and I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome all my narrators. So yeah, here we are again, back at it on the Narrative Podcast. I don't know how your weekday went. This is a Friday as I am recording, so I'm staying true to my promise, my commitment that I made. I'm going to start doing more weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast. I just want to point out I've been having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with this platform. On my last episode, I had to switch equipment. I got this this podcast thing on two different sets, so I had to switch over to the other set when I did my upload on Thursday. Yeah, I had to switch and just I don't know. I really don't know like what was going on with it, but we got through it. We had a pretty good session on Thursday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. It was either Wednesday or Thursday on my last episode. I know last weekend I recorded on a Sunday, so that was kind of throwing me off. I did an upload on a Sunday. That's kind of what was throwing me off. I usually do the uploads like on Saturdays, but I already explained all that. But anyway, so I'm trying to do 2 to 3 episodes per week now in the effort to, increase positivity, because we've been having a lot of negative things happen within our community in the last, I would say, 6 months or so. So I'm definitely not trying to be a goody two-shoes or trying to tell other content creators, what they should be posting on their platforms. I'm just saying we got way too much negativity with coming out of our community, on this, in these digital spaces, and we should be like really trying to hyper focus on positivity right now. We got big things in the works, like there is an inherent agenda against us, and we need to be, utilizing all the resources we have in a positive way. So that's, my effort, my contribution into, ushering in more positive content to choose from, because it's like these days you can't even choose, what you want to look at, what you want to listen to, because it's just they're just cramming all this negativity down your throat. But anyway, welcome to the Narrative Podcast. What I normally do is get interpersonal with my listening audience before diving into the content. I'm going to forego that this evening. This is a Narrative Podcast first for me. This is the first time that I've ever, in the history of podcasting, have ever did an upload on a Friday. And the main reason why I've never done that is because, I kind of reserve the weekends for the full episodes broadcast of the Narrative Podcast, and the only difference between my weekend and my weekday episode is the weekend episode of the Narrative Podcast has more segments. I just have 2 segments on the weekday episode of the Narrative Podcast. I just have 2 segments of the during the weekday on the Narrator podcast, and I have probably like about, I would say, 6 sections. Both segments of the Narrator podcast have a commentary section, but that's where they're similar at. But where they differ at is like on the weekend, I gotta in addition to the current event section or current news section, where I'm doing commentary on things that's like trending topics. I got a couple more sections. I got a highlight section where I'm highlighting original people that own and operate their own businesses, and then I got a spotlight section where I'm spotlighting a prominent figure within our community, impacting our community in a positive way. And then I got a health and wellness section, self-explanatory health and wellness tips. What else? Health and wellness. And I already told you I got the commentary section. And then I close out with the final thought or a final word. That's just basically like a wise word of wisdom, a gem, a pearl of knowledge, whatever you want to call it. That's the only big difference between my weekday and weekend episodes. So, but other than that, this is my second weekday episode this week. And like I said, I'm going to be trying to, broadcast every time I get an opportunity to do a upload of the Narrative podcast during the weekday. So just be buckle up and get ready. So spoiler alert, I'm not going to be doing a commentary section this evening, as I don't really feel like nothing's really going on in the news worth talking about right now. And the few things that are worth talking about, I'm still kind of digesting it and processing it before delivering my commentary on it. But that's pretty much what's going on today. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome to the platform, all new people. How I usually start these things off is I give a brief synopsis of the Narrative podcast. I just walk you through a brief overview of my podcast, what I'm all about. What is my mission statement? What do I hope to accomplish with this platform that I'm occupying, and what I want to, my message that I want to send to the world and everybody listening to me. So the message that I want to send to the world, specifically my people, to impress upon you is the necessity, the very important reason why we should be utilizing our platforms to share positive content about our people and our culture. So, that's the ultimate goal of the Narrative podcast. So here I go, breaking it down in its entirety before diving into my content this evening, which is super duper short. I ain't even going to hold y'all on this Friday evening. Let's start at the top. Tippy, the name, the Narrative podcast. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. I'll explain what I mean by original people later on in the segment. But I don't like how the media portrays our people. The media portrays us in a negative light intentionally. They misappropriate our culture, and they basically just, play up negative stereotypes and negative stigmas within our culture, and try to misrepresent us to the rest of the world. They try to present us as dysfunctional, as degenerate, as violent, as lazy, as self-loathing, and try to paint us out as like we got this woe is me energy, and pretty much just all things bad. So so that's why I created this platform to counter the media's inaccurate, intentional misrepresentation of our people and our culture. So having said that, I think that's the perfect segue to my tagline: the Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about original people and original people, and about our people, original people, and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And that's entirely what the Narrative Podcast is all about. Trying to uplift and enlighten, empower, and impact our people in a positive way. Trying to basically get everybody on the same page and to see the light, and spread awareness as to why it's so important to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Every single chance, every single opportunity that we have, we should be like sharing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, because the media intentionally misrepresents our people every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know the deal. So basically that's what's, the initial purpose of this platform is, to uplift and edify our people, and just speak positivity over our community, and dispel, dismiss, and debunk all these negative, inaccurate portrayals and representations of our people. So that's why I exist in this space, to do just that, and to inspire and motivate other people to utilize their digital platforms to do this exact same way. I'm not trying to be a goody two shoes. I'm not trying to be the content police and tell other successful content creators what type of content they should be sharing on their platforms. I'm just, letting the war's on, and it's being brought to our front door. And the reason why, we pretty much have a whole lot of negative things coming out of our community, because we just kind of passively stamp it, and we're going, on a subconscious level, going along with the agenda by regurgitating the negative stereotypes and stigmas online. We're regurgitating gang culture. We're regurgitating pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture. We're regurgitating thug culture, gangbang culture. Like, we're recycling all that online, and as a result of that, the media thinks we want to be portrayed like that, and they're trying to basically accommodate that market, based on our participation in it. But anyway, on to some more things I feel you should know about the Narrative Podcast. Let's start with my tagline. Oh, I already said the tagline, my bad. On this platform, I refer to my target listening audience as my narrators. And I refer to them as my narrators because, we're living in the digital information age. Nowadays, we share pretty much everything online. So whatever platform you occupy, 9 out of 10, it has a status update feature. It has some type of way that you can share your perspective, your viewpoints on life, your hobbies, your interests, your turn-ons, your turn-offs, your religious beliefs, political affiliations, whatever makes you, you're basically telling your own story. And another word for telling is narrating. Online, you can be whatever you want to. You can narrate your story any way you want to narrate your own story. So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. And the mission as a narrator is to narrate your own stories, because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell or narrate your own story, your story will be told for you. And that's what the media is doing, telling our story for us, and they're telling it from a warped, skewed, inaccurate vantage point. So, we got to put it back in this perspective and take control over that. So another thing you should know, so while I'm encouraging my listening audience to share positive frames of reference, it isn't it isn't part of my mission statement to worry about dominant society and what people outside of our culture think about us or how they view us. It's not my job to, educate them. It's not my job to enlighten them. And if you're an original man or an original woman, I would say it's also not your job either. So the only reason why I'm so fixated on putting out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture is, to put the context or put our existence in the correct context. So basically what I'm saying with this podcast, if you're going to be telling our story, you should be telling our story accurately. You should be putting accurate, frames of reference out about our people and our culture. You should always be speaking about us from, our true roots, our true heritage, our true nature. What is our true nature? Our true nature is kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. That's how we should always be represented. That's how we should always be portrayed in the news, in movies, on television. We should always be portrayed with the air of regality, if that's even a word, being regal. That's how we should always be portrayed. I'm just really getting fed up with these, sensationalized false images of us. So, that's the whole purpose behind this podcast, and that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. Next thing you should know about the podcast. Is that this is a positive space. I promote positivity. I encourage positivity. This is, a space where I'm uplifting and edifying our people. I don't promote or condone gossip. I don't promote or condone negative isms. I feel our people is attacked from all sides. From like we are the most attacked people on the planet in my biased, humble opinion. Like we catch it from all sides. We catch hell from all sides, from everywhere. From this community, that community, whatever community you want to think about, we catch hell for. We catch hell from them. So, that's why this is I try to make this a positive space. I don't engage, slander and gossip and none of that. Like I said, I'm just trying to uplift and edify my people and encourage everybody that listens to my platform to do the same. As a matter of fact, another thing, if I ever say a famous person's name or a celebrity, it's not to clout chase or trying to insert, my name in the conversation about whatever, topic is currently trending, not even trying to get clicks or CPMs or none of that. All I'm trying to do is basically to, if I do bring up a famous person, I'm basically just trying to, solidify a point that I'm trying to make. And the point that I try to, center focus all my commentary around is the why. I point out the systemic why. If something negative happens in our community, that's how I try to center, the argument around is like, yes, we do have our issues, our in-house issues we need to work on, like every other community has their in-house issues they need to work on. The only difference between our community and other communities that have their in-house issues that they need to work on is that, when we're having problems, it's highly publicized, on every single platform. Because, let's face it, we're the most influential people on the planet. Anything we do is news worthy, especially something negative, But when we're trying to, uplift and be positive, then that's boring or, corny. But if we're unaliving each other, if we're committing crimes against each other, dragging each other up and down social media, airing out dirty laundry, then that's cool. That's cool. But if we're, carrying ourselves in high regards and, carrying ourselves like we love ourselves, then that's a problem. That's a problem then. Where we're being respectful towards one another, then that's a problem. But as long as we're being disrespectful towards one another and, treating each other like the ops, that's perfectly normal. Then everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to pull a seat up, grab their favorite snack, get some popcorn, and just sit back and watch, what's going to happen next. That's everybody, the whole world's response to us acting in a negative way. So, that's why I try to promote positivity on this platform and encourage everybody, all other listeners, to, do the same. And, that's the perspective that I always try to carry the conversation when something negative erupts within our community is the why. I want to point out that systemic why, because we've been programmed and conditioned to do that, and that's why that negative thing happened. Because I don't know about you all, but I'm so tired of every time something happens within our community, we just volunteer, out of the blue. We need to do better. We need to do better. We do all the time, anything. It could be literally anything. Somebody from within our community be like, yo, we got to do better. And, to the point, yes, we do have to do better. But why do we always have to do better? The people that's had everything done to them, the people that's had everything taken away from them, we always have to, bear the cross and be the bigger person. But we keep on getting stomped out and kicked out and defecated on by everybody else. But we're the ones that have to do better. It makes no sense. Yes, we do need to take accountability for our actions, but we also need to just quit volunteering that we have to do better. because we're not nobody worse than anybody else's community. The only difference between our community and everybody else is our mistakes always are publicized and always shared in heavy rotation in the media. You know, we're no more violent than anybody else's community. We're no more unproductive than anybody else's community. Everybody has despots in their community. Everybody has people in their community not living up to their full potential. But we actually have a legitimate reason to have record numbers of people within our community not living up to their full potential and not achieving, you know, what life got for them. Like, we actually have a wall. We're the only people to actually have a wall to get over. Nobody else has a barricade wall. They got a hurdle that they have to ascend culturally. So, in next bit of business here on the Narrator podcast, this is a time-sensitive platform. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. This is an all audio platform. So, you know, I only got a little bit of time to keep my listening audience attentive and, you know, with the uptake. And I don't want to, you know, be redundant and talk in circles. And basically, I don't want to bore my listening audience to death. That's why I try to keep it short, snappy, and to the point. When I first started doing this, I had no idea what I want to do, what direction I want to take, what I want to focus on. But when I became aware of what I want to do with my platform, I knew I had to keep my listening audience captivated. So I basically want to educate you, enlighten you, motivate you, inspire you, entertain you, of course. You know, keep it you know, lighthearted and add levity to, you know, whatever's going on with our people. But, you know, but also just main thing, keep it moving, keep it cohesive, keep the content fluid, and keep it moving. Like, the last thing I want to do is just basically be on a glorified rant. You know, this is an all audio platform. I'm not even interviewing guests yet. So, you know, I got to, you know, shoot straight to the meat. That's another way my weekday and my weekend episodes kind of vary. I have speaking points for each section that I have, and I try to time each section so that I don't, you know, go over my 1 hour mark. Because, like I said, I don't want to bore my listening audience to sleep. I don't want to, you know, just, you know, make it hard to follow. I just want all my content digestible, practical, and applicable. So I want to accommodate, you know, all levels of intellect. I don't want to shoot over anybody's head, and I also don't want to dumb anybody down or dumb myself down. So, you know, that's my goal with the time thing. And last but not least, I know you heard me keep on saying it over and over again, original people. So on the Narrator podcast, I refer to our people, Black people, African American, whatever you want to call us. I refer to us on our platform as original people. And the reason why I refer to our people as original people is because, you know, for two reasons. It's historically accurate, and to unify us as a people. So let me get started on the historically accurate part. Excuse me, a little tongue-tied. So what do I mean by, you know, the historical significance of it? What do I mean by the historical significance of it? I mean, we were here 5,000 years before, like, over 5,000 years, pardon me, before every single civilization on this planet, you know. So that's what I mean by the historical significance of the word original. is just to imply that we were here first. And then a sub point that I always tack on to that, because a false narrative that keeps on getting circulated about us, is that, you know, the powers that be, they try to twist the narrative. They want to have us believing, you know, our history began with slavery, and slavery was an integral part of our history, and a definitive part of our history, and it just wasn't on so many levels. First and foremost, being original people, being here first, we inhabited every part of this planet. Like every continent you could think of, there was a small group of us already there. So we was already in parts of Asia, we was already in parts of China, we was already in parts of, you know, every Spanish-speaking territory, every Spanish-speaking nation. We was already there. We was already, you know, Middle East, you know, we was already down under Australia, European countries, you know, Britain, you know, was all up in the Mediterranean, all up in the UK originally. You know, even North and South Pole, Canada, we're already there. Large concentrations of us already there. You know, we're worldwide with it. Already there in New Zealand, already there in, you know, all these European places, Germany, France, already there. But especially here in America. So while slavery was a very real thing, and it really did happen, and it really was cruel, barbarous, and savage, you know, our involvement in the slave trade, how long slavery went on, has all been exaggerated. Like I said, original people was already here, especially here in America, because when you think about it, there's the whole going to the continent of Africa for hundreds of years, getting slaves by boat, you know, from America and Great Britain. Does that even make sense? Like, come on. Like, half the crew ain't even going to make it, and they're paying people to go get slaves. Like they're paying people to go get slaves in like gold bullion and precious stones. You know what I mean? Paper money wasn't even around. So that don't even make, like, you know, that's not a good business trip, because like half the crew's not going to make it. They're going to have a crew of like 400 to 600, 2 to 3 per ship. You know, half of them ain't going to make it. They're going to get sick. Half of them is going to get sick. The other half is going to stay in one of the ports that they touch down to replenish supplies for the trip. When they go get the slaves, half the slaves ain't going to make it. They're going to get paid to go get 200 or 300 slaves. They're only going to come back with probably like 140, 150. If that, maybe 80 or 90. So like economically, it don't even make that, you know what I mean? But anyway, I got a little long-winded with that. What I just basically wanted to say is the historical significance of referring to our people as original people is just that we was here first. We inhabited pretty much every, you know, area of this planet. There was already a high concentration of us. Another misnomer is that, you know, being the original people, we was already highly civilized, highly advanced, highly intelligent, sophisticated. We had sophisticated technology early. Like, you know, the Nubians, they were harnessing biokinetic energy. Yes, they were illuminating them unks with the auroric field surrounding our bodies. They figured out how to do that way back in the game. The pyramids were power stations. Understand me? That's how highly civilized and advanced we are. We were. We are and we were, like, originally. Like, we originated everything. Every modern day convenience we now have today can all be traced to the original people. We invented everything. So you can sit up there and believe that fake American Renaissance history if you want to, which is a big giant lie, because, you know, there's a big trail of breadcrumbs a mile long about who invented what. You know, the slaves invented everything. Like, you know, that's why they invented the patent system, so they wouldn't have to pay the slaves for their inventions. Because also during slavery, a whole lot of them was purchasing their own freedom. And how were they purchasing their own freedom? With the things they invented. But anyway, that's what I mean by original people. It's the historical significance of why I refer to our people as original people here on the Narrative Podcast. Second one is the unity part. You know, we're all from different land masses. We all speak different languages. We all have different political views, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, cultural upbringing, you know, ethnicity, languages, you know, all different. But the one thing that we all have in common, the one common thread that binds us all together as a people, is that we are all original. We were all here first. We are all melanated. We can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. And that's why I refer to our people as original people here on the Narrative Podcast. So, having said that, you know, we're going to dive right on into the content. If I glazed over everything, if you're still kind of wondering what the Narrative Podcast is all about, I'm well over 300 episodes in. Remember to download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. So when I say download, y'all, when I share it back on the social, you will see a download button, a little arrow pointing down. That means download it. Press that and the episode will download. Some other things that help me out is the like button. I got a heart-shaped like button. Click that heart-shaped like button. And then you can also comment on, you know, any one of my episodes. It has a comment box like everything else online. You can write a little comment on, you know, anywhere you see the Narrative Podcast link. Last thing, just there are thousands of Narrative podcasts out there, but make sure you're downloading mine, hosted by me, Halzie Allen, and I spelled mine Hallzie, Allen, Allen. That's how you know it's me. So there's like 1,000 Narrative podcasts out there, but you know, mine's the only one that matters. So yeah, because I'm the only one talking about something. I don't know what they doing, but you know, they ain't doing it like me. And the crazy thing is, nobody can sue nobody for because you can't patent or copyright a name. So it's so common. The word narrative is so common. So, you know, everybody can use it. Nobody can take claim to it. So yeah, like I said, I'm over 300 episodes in. Download this episode, all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. So that's it with my synopsis. I'm going to dive into the content. So this is a weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. And tonight, y'all, all I have is articles. And like I said, I'm going to be revamping or going to rev up my efforts to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture by, doing more weekly broadcasts. So this is my second weekly broadcast of the Narrator podcast. So I'll be, doing a full episode either Saturday or Sunday. It might be Sunday again because it might not get uploaded back on the social. I might finish recording it earlier today, and I don't know. I got a really busy schedule tomorrow. It might not get uploaded. That's why I always say join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast, because technically Sunday is a weekend too. Technically Friday is a weekend too. So today's technically a weekend, but so I'm not making a liar out of myself. Trying to keep my consistency and everything. So, but you should see a full episode of the Narrative Podcast this weekend, Saturday. I'm shooting for Saturday. But just keep an ear to them podcast streets. And I'm going to dive right on into the content this evening. And like I said, all I got for this evening is just news articles. And the purpose of me doing news articles is to stay true to my podcast mission statement, which is to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. We're constantly being bombarded with negativity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The media wants us to believe that nothing positive happens in our community. They always want to portray us as downtrodden, living in strife, being destitute, disenfranchised, and just, I think the hip hop terminology, the new hip hop terminology for being dusted and disgusted is just being on pop. They always want to portray us as being on pop. So, we got to set that right with some positive frames of reference, and I'm going to be delivering some positive frames of reference to the listening audience this night in the form of news articles that I've come across. I follow a lot of black stuff on all my social, and so how I choose which ones that I want to share back with you all is just ones that catch my eye, ones that I like the story, and I just basically take bulleted points from the article to share it back with you guys. So yeah, that's the purpose of the article. So first article on my second broadcast day of the Narrative Podcast. This is my second broadcast this week. So yeah, diving right on into the articles. This is my second weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. And like I said, I'm going to be doing them more frequently during the weekday. So, first article of the evening, the headline reads, Two brothers launch new app allowing users to experience historic Black Chicago from 1920 to 1940. And the brothers' names are Mr. Donald and Mr. Philip Jones. The app is called Time Machine Bronzeville. It's a desktop app. It was originally designed for middle schoolers to use as a curriculum enrichment program. It uses animation to tell users about the Great Migration, the Jim Crow era, segregation, and the Chicago Renaissance. The Time Machine Bronzeville is now available for download on all streaming platforms, especially one called, I think Steam. I'm not familiar with Steam, but it's available on Steam. For more info or to book either one of the Jones brothers, contact Monique contact Monique Gardner /kitchen at Mardine, MEARADINE @gmail.com. So let's give a Warm Narrative Podcast round of applause to the Jones brothers and their incredible app called Bronzeville. I've been saying Brownsville this whole time. Bronzeville with a Z, like bronze, the metal, Bronzeville. All right, moving right along. The next article reads, 2 black former college roommates closed a historic deal on an $8.3 million hotel. And the sisters' names are Devon Reeves and Jessica Mayer. They both were friends in college. They are now co-owners of Home 2 Suites by Hilton. And that's Home, the number 2 Suites by Hilton. Reeves has a background in hospitality, while Myers has a background in media and real estate. And that's really kind of all the article said. So, yeah, let's give a Warm Narrative Podcast round of applause to our sisters, Devon Reeves and Jessica Mayer. Moving right along, y'all. Next article. The headline reads, founders of black-owned food service business won $17 million contract with Boston Public Schools. And the brother's name is Sheldon Lloyd, and his company is called City Fresh Foods. City Fresh Foods partnered with the Boston Public School system with the initiative to focus on nutrition. They even hired and even enlisted the help of a certified dietitian to ensure quality and reduce waste. So follow City Fresh Foods on Instagram, or go to cityfreshfoods.com. Now, when I just try to type in cityfreshfoods.com in the browser, nothing popped up. So your best bet will go to Instagram and type in City Fresh Foods, and then click the link that they have on Instagram, and it'll go right to the page. Because if you try to type it in the browser, nothing's going to pop up. It's going to say no content here. But anyway, you can also follow our brother Sheldon Lloyd. He has a profile on LinkedIn. You can also type in City Fresh Foods, and you can follow them on LinkedIn as well. So let's give that brother a Warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for his professional accomplishment. All right, moving right along. And this is the very last article of the evening, you guys. Headline reads, grandmother was illiterate and granddaughter earns law degree. And this is a story of a sister from Ghana named Alice. I mispronounced the name. I already said she's from Ghana, so forgive me in advance. Alice Gyamfi, Gyamfi. She passed the New York bar exam on her first try. She is the first in her family to have a formal education. She's the first in her family to be able to read and write. Nobody else in her family can read or write except her. Everybody else is illiterate. So, there's always something to be thankful for. And I think that's something everybody, kind of takes, for granted, having the ability to read and write. That you might not feel you can't read well. You might not be satisfied with your reading level, but you can read. There are legitimately people out there that cannot read, cannot write. So this sister defied the odds and broke the, as they say, the glass ceiling. So that's very, very positive. That's why I shared that one. That's all the articles I have this evening. Join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast. I'm shooting for Saturday, but if you don't hear an upload on Saturday, it'll definitely be up there Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday, one of the two, but definitely join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast. That's it, and that's all. Thank you all for listening. Please also, just keep an eye out or an ear out, for new episodes of the Narrative Podcast. The best way you can keep up with my latest uploaded episodes of the Narrative Podcast is to follow me on YouTube. So the best ways you can keep up with the latest episodes of the Narrative Podcast is to follow me on YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. And reason being, because the platform that I'm on automatically uploads my episodes to YouTube and X. Like right when I'm done recording, it goes automatically to X and Twitter. All anywhere else it appears, I have to put it there manually. I have to put the link up manually on all other platforms, but where it goes automatically is X and Twitter. So also check out for me in Threads if you got Threads, But yeah, definitely X and definitely Twitter. I'm Halsey Allen on both of them. On Twitter, on YouTube, I'm Halsey Allen. So subscribe to my viewer channel. I don't have a channel just specifically designed for the Narrative Podcast. It's just my viewer channel, Halsey Allen. You go to my videos and you will see all the episodes of the Narrative Podcast on my viewer channel on YouTube. Subscribe to that. Click the notification bell, notification all, like button, share it on all your platforms. You know the deal. That's YouTube. And then X, I'm not too proficient with X. I guess, X will alert you when a brand new episode of the Narrative Podcast uploads. If you follow me on X, I'm Halsey Allen on X. I'm Halsey Allen at I Stay Good on X. Yeah. And then also, please support my book of poetry. I wrote a book of poetry titled The Black Card. It's only available on one medium, and the medium is called poetizer.com. Poetizer.com is a writing community specifically geared towards people that like to write poetry, but then also, people that like to write short stories, composition, just it's a writer's community. And on Poetizer.com, they have a feature that will allow the user to create a book out of their work on Poetizer.com, and that's precisely what I did. They have a virtual online bookstore where said work can go to. You can just collect all the pieces you want to share and condense them into a book. And that's what I did on Poetizer.com. I condensed my poetry into a book. It's 30 poems of poetry, and I titled it The Black Card. And the Black Card basically is an all-encompassing look at us as a people. It's basically a snapshot of us, original people, and everything we go through, both positive and negative. A survival card, if you will, a day in the life of type thing. You're definitely, if you're an original person, you're definitely going to read a poem that resonates with you. They're all incredibly, creative and really masterfully put together, if I do say so myself. So you would definitely enjoy that read. It'll make a great gift, a good coffee table read, a good relaxed type book. What you want to do is go check it out. It's called The Black Card. It's available on Poetizer.com. Do yourself a favor, get yourself the Black Card or get your Black Card revoked. Purchase the Black Card today on Poetizer.com in their virtual online bookstore. My second thing, so you already know I like to write poetry. I have my very own personal poetry blog on blogger.com. And the name of my blog is called hallziespoetrycorner. And the link to it is www.mrhallziesblogs.com. The tagline for it is Hallzies Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read one of my poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner, you will find out just why the tagline is that. Because all my poetry on there is guaranteed to resonate with you. And that poetry blog is for everybody. Not just our people, not just original people. It's for everybody. Anybody that enjoys poetry, but I do have a whole lot of them that are, dealing with our issues. I got a couple of them dealing with the police, and, a few of them just that are, heavy laden with expressions that we say as a people. But for the most part, it's for everybody. Anybody that likes to read poetry. And the unique thing about the poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner is that they're all spontaneously written. It's just, completely off the cuff. I didn't contemplate on any of the subject matter. I didn't contemplate on the titles. I just literally just, start typing and boom, bam, finished product. I can't explain my gift. It's just like when that, when that switch comes on, I just have to start writing, and I post it all on my poetry blog on blogger.com called Hallzies Poetry Corner. Really good poetry. You're guaranteed to find something. You're guaranteed to, relate to an entire poem or a portion, can relate to a portion of one of my poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner. It's good. Creative poetry, definitely relatable content. You'll enjoy it. And the way you support my poetry blog is to either share the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner, which is www.mrhallziesblogs.com, or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms, across all social media platforms, whatever platform you're most active on, Facebook, Tumblr, Reddit, like whatever, social media platform you're on, just share the link or the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner on whatever platform you're active on. For the visual users, like people that like do visual content like YouTube or Rumble or Instagram, something where you're in front of a camera, you might, the best way to help me out in that scenario would be to, shout out the link, shout out the my poetry blog, Hallzies Poetry Corner, or the link to it, www.mrhallziesblogs.com. But, that's how you would do it, on the visual side of it, share it on across all platforms. And then also it has a little heart-shaped like button. Click the little heart-shaped like button. You can also comment on my poems as well. It has a comment box. You can write me a little note on there. That'd be cool for the clicks, the deal. Content creators, the deal, to get the traction. Help a brother out. I'm going to funnel it all back into this platform. So to give you guys a better listening experience for the Narrative Podcast and keep on making the content fresh and captivating. So bigger things, better things around the corner. I got a whole lot of things that I'm working on, almost in the finishing stages. I share it with you guys when I'm at the completion stage. But for now, just support the Narrative Podcast by downloading this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, and support Hallzies Poetry Corner. That's it and that's all. Thank you all for listening. Sending love, light, and healing energy to you. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Narrative Podcast. I'm Hallzie Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time, and I'm asking you to help me change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time on my end as a narrator, you can change the narrative on your end one social media post at a time. Until next time, Hallzie Allen in the Narrative Podcast, signing off, and it's like that.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Hallzie Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.